Are y'all ready to learn how to do that Kylie blush technique? We're already getting started. So I want my under eyes to be extremely bright, but that doesn't mean that we're going to use our lightest concealer. We're actually going to use this. This is the Fresh Brightener from Makeup Forever. You guys know I love these. So this is really going to brighten our under eye without layering too many products. And sometimes when we use concealer that's a lot lighter than our skin tone, it can turn gray. So we're going to start here. So let's just kind of take our time. And it's going to look like a lot for a second, but we're going to blend this out. We're going to bring it all the way over here. All right, we're getting somewhere. And I'm using my Anissa eye treatment brush. So there you go. You can kind of see it. We can bring it down the sides of the nose. Okay, so Kylie's normally very matte, and especially through the center of the face. So I'm going to grab this one as well. This is the Makeup Forever Shine Control. And I'll just place a little bit of this here. A little bit of this one goes an extremely long way. In fact, just that alone, I kind of squeeze out too much. That's going to be enough for the center. So I'm just going to use my finger today. My other eye treatment brush is covered in eye primer, so this is where we're at right now. I'd rather be using that. In fact, don't I have another one? Let me find another one. I can't get around my brows as well without that brush. There we go. I had a spot treatment, so I can kind of just really press it in here, and I can go around my brows. I just don't have enough control with my fingers to go around my brows, and I feel like that's where I get shiny. So let's just take it through here. Much better. Let's make sure that our primer has time to dry down. I know I say that every day, but I still get DMs. And they ask, you know, my foundation and my concealer, it's still separating. And I go, are you waiting at least a minute? And they go, does that really make a difference? And I said, yes, it makes a big difference. Okay, so we're gonna use this Maybelline Fit Me. This is the matte and poreless. We're definitely going for a matte look. So I decided to use this one. I have a little bit poured out over here. So let's get this foundation on. So I just tapped a little bit on. We'll start to work it in. Gene is behind me. You can probably hear him breathing. Just really take your time and press that in. I feel like this might be a little bit too light for me right now. The sun's been shining like crazy here, but not to worry. We're going to use bronzer. So next up, we're going to do our concealer. I'm going to use my Makeup Forever Ultra HD. I'm really liking this concealer. But the difference is we're not going to use as much. We're actually going to use just a little bit of the concealer. And notice this placement. It's just kind of in the hollow and then through here, because Kylie always has a very lifted look. A little bit through there. A little bit down our nose. I'm actually just going to kind of put it there and there. Definitely there. There we go. Grabbing my Anissa Angle Concealer Brush, we're going to start to tap this in. Since we kind of already did that pre-highlighting underneath our eyes, we just won't need as much concealer, and we also want to make sure we're not putting too much product under here. So I'll kind of press in where I placed it, and then I use the least amount, whatever's left on my brush, and that's where I'll connect it. Alright, are y'all ready? We're getting to the good part. So I'm actually going to grab this RCMA blush palette. I love it. It's so pigmented, and I'm using this Rare Beauty. This is the concealer brush. And what I'm going to do, we're going to look mad before we look cute. So I'm just going to take this, and Kylie's blush is always pretty far underneath her eye. So we'll just kind of press this back and forth. I'm going to stop it about right there. And I'm not doing a full smile, but I am just kind of, and we're going to put that right on top of the apple. Okay, we're gonna look crazed. We're crazed. It's just crazed. I also want to remind you that I do not have any powder on my face yet. So don't put any powder. We're still working this in and kind of placing it where we want it. We're gonna grab our foundation brush, just kind of go over it. We're not getting rid of it. We're just making sure it's nice and melted. Look, it's already starting to look like it. Ooh. That's spicy. All right, so we're gonna need pink powder. I've even seen that Kylie herself has mentioned that she loves pink powder. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna set through here, really brighten it. Same technique. If you wanna know my technique, it's on IGTV. You do not wanna miss that video. So we'll just set that through there, and then we'll kind of press through here. And we're gonna stop this pink powder at about right here. Notice where we stopped it. I know at this point you only watch me to see Gene. Worth it. This is his Bobo. When he came, this was all scratched up and he never grew fur back. It's like scar tissue. And I'm not sure if you guys know, but he's blind in this eye too, so whatever happened over here, critical damage. No, you don't have to worry about nothing but smooches. Smooches. So many smooches. Y'all think he likes me? So now I'm gonna set the rest of my face with Gene. No, I'm actually gonna put Gene. Gene, go to your granny. Go to your granny. Go under granny. Okay, let me finish this up. I could sit here all day with Gene Bean. We gotta do a tutorial. So I love this powder. This is really gonna mattify and make sure the rest of the face is set. I'm using the shade R30. This is the same shade that I use in the Reboot foundation. So we'll just kind of press this everywhere. I'm not gonna press it too much over the blush, maybe just the bottom part, because we are about to grab another powder blush. Okay, so we're just gonna grab my Rimmel bronzer. Love this one. And I'm just gonna kind of warm up the skin. Kylie normally has a really, really brown forehead, but that's not my flavor. So now I'm gonna grab one of my favorite blushes. This happens to be a Kylie blush. It's just the perfect pink. And this is the color that I normally see her wear. We're gonna take this brush. This one's a prototype, but we're just kind of gonna layer it. I'm not gonna go up as high as I put the cream blush. We're just kind of creating a transition. This also helps if you find that your blush kind of fades throughout the day. This will really be good for you. So I'm just gonna keep going back and forth, and I'm gonna put it here to about here. That's normally where she has her blush. So now we'll take whatever's left and just kind of go across the forehead, a little across the nose, and a little across our chin. So I have a little bit of that same pink powder we used to set underneath her eye. I'm just gonna press across here. That pink powder just kind of ties everything together. Okay, but here's the kicker, okay? Yes, there are 3 blushes involved, but there has to be 3 blushes. This is the only way I found that I can get it to look like her pictures. So what I like to do is I grab a MAC 252S, and then just to compare, do you see how light this is? So this is still considered a blush. It's the Kylie Blush in Pink Power, but you can see that it just has a light pink tint. So there it is in comparison. So I'm taking the MAC 252S, it's a flat brush, going into this blush, and I'll just kind of tap that through here. I'm not going to take it over this way, and I'm not going to take it back over this way. We're going to let that blush do its thing, but this is what really transitions it. And what you're seeing with Kylie's blush is just transition on transition of blushes. So just like we would transition our eyeshadow, all this is a transitioning of blush. It's not so complicated when you say it out loud. While this technique it will eventually become simple to you, but it does take a lot of products. It's going to take creams, 2 powders, face powders. It's a lot. It's a whole lot. And I feel like that's why a lot of the times pro makeup artists, they don't talk about their work, because it is so many different things. But you guys wanted to see this technique, and by goodness, that dadgum looks like it, if I do say so myself. Also, if you have just a little bit darker skin tone than I do, I would recommend using a pink tone powder like the Makeup Forever that I showed you. It's very pink. It's R230, which I already listed, and it's the one I use all the time. But if you were neutral or even a little bit more warm tone, this would really, really stand out, and you could use that as a transition underneath your eye as well. And also, I have no idea how I know all of these things. It's just in me. I just feel like I look at makeup and I understand it. I love makeup so much.